It's on today. Hear that? It's on. I am back in my creator closet and I'm not using a filter. I realized that I had got sucked back into the world of using filters because one of the main reasons I started using a filter was because I was a little self conscious sitting next to the washer dryer and I was blurring out the washer dryer sticker. And I thought, you know what? Nope, let's go back to it because back in August, I had made the commitment to myself to show up online not using a filter. And then once I did, I thought that it was just like blurring out the background. And then somebody was like, that's taking me out and not bringing me in. I thought, you know what? We don't want that. This is about all I've got for my keeping my promise to myself. This is a promise that I made to myself to show up for 90 days and do talking videos. And today, this is about all I have. But 90% of life is showing up. So I'm here. I'm keeping my promise to myself. And what I love about that is wiring my brain to keeping promises to myself, because as we know, the longest relationship you will ever have in your life is with yourself. You have to be trustworthy to yourself first and foremost. Trust yourself, trust your gut, trust your intuition before you can really trust anyone else. And I said back at the beginning of this sprint that I'm doing that I was going to marry the process, divorce the results. Sort of reifying that today because it's really a hard thing to do when you're in this space and the results, the quote unquote results, the metrics are staring at you every day. And it's more than that. It's about the conversation. It's about the conversation that I'm showing up every day and having with past me, future me, conversation that I'm having and the connections that I'm making with people on here. But what I love about the process that I'm feeling is that I'm really starting to embrace the creativity that I first was excited about when I started making content about 18 months ago. When I first started making content about 18 months ago, I was literally having trouble sleeping at night because I was so excited to make different videos. And I'm starting to feel that again. And I'm just starting to really feel the creative in me writ large. So not just in social media space, but also as a professor, as just a creative being and being called back into my creativity. I think that we're put on this earth to be creative. I think it's amazing that we see people and when they don't quote unquote have to have a job, they're artists, they're creatives. We see people who are able to do that, right? Who are maybe second generation, their parents. I mean, look at is it Malia Obama, who's a director now? We see that, right? Like we are creative beings. I think that's the reason we are alive is to create in these different spaces throughout our lives. And I feel like I'm just being called back into that again. I'm looking at baking. I'm looking at my writing. Like I'm looking at all of these ways in which I was once creative. And then I started seeing like that being taken away to do other things. But no, we're creative and we are all meant to do some type of creative expression. And if you're not doing that, you're feeling the results of that, I think, probably like in your being. So if I can urge anyone to do one thing today, let me know. What is it that you are thinking about creating? What is it that you want to create? And what is it that you maybe are nervous to create? I want to hype you up. Also, I love the fact that I said I had nothing to say, and then here we are 5 minutes later. But let me know in the comments, what is it that you feel that ignition, that sort of like spark again in your soul? Let me know in the comments. Let me hype you up. Let's create together.